14-yard line. Over the middle, juggled, caught, and this is Austin Collie, and he'll take the ball to the 7-yard line. It will be second down and goal.
Patreon. Sorry I haven't had a video in a while, working on some real life things, but we're back on it here. Want to jump back in the offense, then we'll jump back in the defense, and then we're going to start making some new playbooks as well. I'm having fun with the Peyton Manning offense, but there are some limitations to it, and there's some things I just want to clean up. As you know, the dig concept, the levels concept is the main play. I just want to explain just to everybody again, because I find myself sometimes in games not running it enough. Really, you really want to make it as they call a constraint theory, where you want to make them stop use in this play. Okay, I know some leagues don't really allow that. Some leagues are more just mix up your plays for the sake of mixing it up. You know, I'm actually a part of a league that has been big like that for a long time. So running this concept on repeat for the first half is a little bit challenging for some people. Some other sim leagues are more have a personality, have an identity, run your offense, you know, and that's fine. So you're going to see more play repeats. So in general, though, I have to be a little bit more comfortable with myself repeating plays and not mixing up just for the sake of mixing up. So we're going to do that more, but really want to talk about how to effectively get these concepts to work. So what I did was I kind of went through and found the majority of the dig play. If you go back and learn about it, read about it, that's the main play that you see right here, levels divide, where you have that shin route, that 5-yard in. You have the dig route behind it, which should be about 15 yards, but in Madden, that's going to vary. And then you have a check down. Really, the back is going to do what they call a wide flare and go to the flat. Then whatever route is not part of the concept, if it's 2 receivers or 1 receiver, they're going to run either a go on the outside, or they're going to run a curl. And if there's 2 receivers, you're supposed to get the alley read, which you see right here with the tight end, where it turns into a post versus an open field look, and seam versus middle field closed look. And then you might have to recreate that. You can't get that all the time. Sometimes you have to just basically use a streak route and just live with it. But that's the main play. So I'm just going to go through all the formations. I have 19 different versions of that type of play. And then what I'm going to do is combine the DAG, which is number 2, works as an out route. And then I'm going to combine Indiana, which is a combination of DAG to one side. And then to the back side, you pretty much have a dagger concept. Full field, you're going to read it very similar, where you're going to read it to the 5-yard shin, to the dig, to the check down of the back. Okay, so that's going to be very similar. And then you have answers within that concept that are good versus man, which is the bag 10 yards of 10 to 15-yard out. Okay, so that's where we're going to work. We're going to just go through it. But really the specifics of it, I think this is a little bit more, if I had originally done this book for sale, and I wanted to make sure that everybody, you know, was doing it the right way, I definitely would have broke it down to more detail like I'm about to right now. Okay. So we're just using an old school 2006 Peyton Manning roster. It was 2006 season, so all the teams are pretty much accurate with the starters. No abilities on these guys, just flat out. So if you want to work this concept, just the regular DAG to the left. So I'm going to use left and right, just so you know. DAG left, standard right. Standard means that the play that I told you, where if you're not tagged, you're going to run the combination of plays that you see there on the right with the receiver and with the tight end. This concept is great, but unfortunately, if you ever watch film of these guys from back in the day, those outside receivers are tighter. So you're going to have to, you know, motion your slot receiver out to the left, which doesn't actually move him anywhere besides put him on the line of scrimmage, but it does move the outside guy and moves him inside. So that helps a lot. Okay. Also, having that guy off the ball helps a lot. But besides just the play, I'm not going to actually just show you the play over here and repeat. By the way, this looks like cover one man. So if I saw this, I'm going to check to the left. I'm going to go DAG left. Okay. So I have a man answer to potentially win. I'll win. But, you know, that's what I wanted to do. And also, you're supposed to still read the 5-yard shin first. If he wins, give it to him. Okay. But this is one thing that I've been doing, is keeping the formation to the field for the most part. I'm going to start, you know, watch some of my games. I'll make sure all my games on that are in my league are available for you to see. This is actually better. This is into the boundary. And I really kind of it just hit me today out of the blue. This route concept is a lot better with that receiver being a lot closer to me, which is going to actually give me a chance to get him the ball a little bit sooner, or I can sit on him a little bit longer. I got a blitz here. I knew that, but So I'm going to show you the timing of that play. And I've kind of talked about this and using different formations that have close and all that stuff. And I kind of got away from that. I'm going to get back to it, but I'm actually going to still use some of the base formations. So you just saw that right there. Let me just give myself an actual look that I know I can. I don't want to go up against any defense. Let's go against cover three. Okay. All right. So into the boundary, we can just leave it stock here. I didn't get the check down the backside, but this is a much better timed up route when it comes to your steps. Okay. So from under center, you're pretty much going to get like a 5-step drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to pitch you back about 6 or 7 yards, okay? And that should be your first. By the time you get there, you should be able to throw it to your first read, okay? Your second read, you might have to hitch up, which would be the dig. Your third read, the same thing. You might have to what they call a reset and throw it to the flare. Now in Madden, I can't really give you all the footwork. Is it going to be exactly like that? I don't think so. I think it's more about just making sure that you're active and try to throw the ball on time. Don't wait too long. I do believe that some of these route concepts are going to be more of a one and then maybe a 2A and a 2B. So it's going to be either the dig or the flare. It's not going to be dig to flare. Like you don't have that much time, especially in your leagues, if you have a pass rush cranked up a little bit. Now, I did right there do the same motion. I motioned Stokely back out to the left and put Harrison off the line. I do believe that does give you a little bit of an advantage when it comes to throwing some of these routes, and it gives you a little bit more. You're a little bit underneath because the route should be at 5 yards. If you look at that, that was exactly 5 yards. If I do it just stock with him on the line of scrimmage, he's going to get a little bit deeper. It's very small, but he gets about 6 yards, right? And that could be the difference between an interception if it's man-to-man coverage, all right? So let's go back to that. So I've had some picks, poor accuracy throws. That's one thing, but really more picks on sometimes just not making the right read versus two coverages in particular. Cover one has gotten me a few times. All right, so I'm going to show you the same play here. Cover one, just off man, right? And then if I do it regular, if you have a good corner who has abilities, he might break that play up. Okay, especially if you do it from a wide field. But from here, as you see, it's a little bit of a closer, like basically the angle's closer to me. I'm also trying to pass lead it down a little bit. It's a little bit better. It's not the best. Still there. It's still pretty close, right? Let me just show you real quick. If I was to actually take this play and put it to the field, and this is just the way I do things, guys. If you like this, let me know. If you think it's too much, let me know. That's where I get some long form videos here. But here to the field just gives way too much. The ball's in the air longer. Okay. I mean, I'm a DB coach. I know exactly like that should be a pick. You know, that long throw, it should be a pick. And if you have, God forbid, you have a quarterback with poor accuracy or not the strongest arm, you're in trouble. Okay. So again, I like that. What I would do here, just so you know, if I got caught in this hash and I called the play, just flip the play. Only the two inside guys move. And if you watch the offense in real life, they will actually do this when they're going no huddle. So that's also another piece of conversation. This is a no huddle offense, really. And if you do get caught in a play, you just flip it. Okay. So again, cover one. I took that one and actually moved the receiver off the ball. All right. So let's say you went no huddle or you called it wrong. Just flip the play. All right. And then even if you want to take it to another level, move Stokely on the line. Wayne does get a little bit wider. I don't really like that too much. But at the same time, I feel like it's okay to kind of play that ball and come back to it. All right. So you have to try to be able to beat cover one. Now, the other coverage that I struggle against a little bit is a good computer defender, and they're playing cover four. Okay. And the thing about having a constraint theory offense is that, you know, when they give you answers and stuff, you should have counters. And really, the base counter to this is the outside guy running a curl or a comeback on the outside. Now, if you get match coverage, he's not going to run the curl. So I would just put on the comeback if you know it's cover four. Or you could see by pre snap right now, there's a lot of clues that this is cover four. We can talk about that in another video. Okay. But right now, if I ran this versus cover four, I'm okay with it, but sometimes that three receiver hook player gets kind of in like a no man's land area right there, and he picks the ball off, right? And you think you're fine, but you're not. I've seen it worse versus 3-by-1 formations. He does a better job of it. So this is something that you got to watch out for. So you would think that maybe you're kind of reading that nickel, right? And you're kind of looking at him and saying, okay, well, we're underneath him. But then sometimes that three receiver hook player is there. And then also the dig route, technically in cover versus cover four, to me is not the best, right? So A good safety should drive this route. Now in Madden, they don't really play it well, but if you have a good safety, he might drive it well, especially if you're doing it from right side of the field, right to left. Okay, so in general, this is where you have to start realizing that you can run this play versus all coverages, but you're probably going to go to that comeback. Okay, and that's pretty much it's okay. So you should alert for quarters. Okay, sit there, get your. It's a little bit of a longer route. We know that you can throw the comeback. Now you can also just put it into a curl. I think comeback is really safe, so you don't have to worry about reading that flat defender. But curl route can also be an answer because that flat defender should come down and play the curl. And I won't say come down, get with. And as you see right there, he didn't do it. So again, the safest thing that you're going to see yourself in this offense is it's okay, man, just to throw that check down. Right. And the way the game is played with juke moves and stuff, you can get 10 yards on a check down, right? It's kind of cheesy, but it is what it is. Now, that's the two coverages I struggle with. The coverages I like this against are cover two and cover three, really. Any type of pressure look, if I think a team's going to send a blitz, I also like it versus that. All right. Now, versus cover three, let me just show you something. Versus cover three, the good thing I like is how the tight end runs a vertical route. Okay. He's going to stay on that seam. And on this play in particular, he bends outside. So if you kind of get a tell it's cover three or you know it's cover three, later on you can kind of just sit there. You can kind of throw this route on the outside right between the corner and the safety. And you can kind of peek that. All right. And I've seen guys go through games and see a lot of cover three, and that's where the ball is going to probably go. All right. Cover two should be easy, especially since it's a user. If there's no user, that middle of the field is going to be pretty much open for you. But you also have the standard route on the backside. So because you have this nice little concept over here, if you think it's cover two, just put your outside receiver on the right and put him on a go. Okay. And then in general, you should either be able to get the tight end or the outside receiver against that safety. Just look at the safety and just don't even look at the receivers. Just look at him and find out what is he doing? Is he getting with or is he kind of like stepping towards the inside? You have to watch out for users, but usually he sits right down the hash and kind of stays on that tight end. So just so you know, if this was a one receiver route, let's just say I put the tight end the block for whatever reason, and I ran the same concept versus cover two, the safety is going to get more width naturally. You see how he starts to get more width because he's not held by a tight end going down the field. Okay. And also, if you run this concept with just two receivers, but forget to put your your um your running back on a wide flare, there's a chance that two that are the middle line or the other linebacker, the what do you call it? The Sam linebacker, I apologize, in the box will match number two if there's no threat of anything to the flat by the running back. Okay. So that's why the flare is really important versus cover two. But I made a good amount of money off of this so far. It's probably been one of my biggest big hitting plays. But again, I let it come natural. I stopped kind of like checking to a vertical look versus cover two every time because everything else you can still work. You don't have to play over there. You want to be predictable. You just kind of want to let things kind of come natural for you. But that route right there is going to be pretty good versus cover two. All right. So we're good there. Quarters, we have combination coverages, quarter, quarter, half. That can be where now we're gonna, defeat the coverage that we want to defeat, which would be the cover two again. Alert for it. Try to get some tells. There are some defensive formations where like, you can't really tell what the formation is. Like, let me just show you real quick. This is a full breakdown of this play. How I see it right now, and I'll probably give you more. But people, when they come out and double mug, right? This is one of the formations that on defense lie to you. Like right now, usually from my first video, I always said if the nickel is head up on number two, there's a good chance it's what man to man. But this could be cover three. This could be a blitz. It could be a whole lot. For whatever reason, certain formations on defense hide coverage is better. So it's something to think about as a defensive person to maybe use a little bit. So if you are going to use this play versus a double mug, don't really anticipate the look. Just kind of go through your reads. So the first thing is because it's a post safety, I'm going to look for cover three, right? I'm going to look for a blitz. But besides that, I'm going to see if it stays in the single high realm and nobody runs with tight end. After that, I'm pretty much just going through my reads. Okay. So it's not the easiest thing to say. I can say I do this all the time perfect, but I don't. I'm still working on it. I've only been running this offense for 2 months. I need to probably get like a full year. I've struggled, man. I've had some bad games and I've said, you know what, I'm going to go back to my good old West Coast offensive style that everybody runs. But I'm like, no, let me just stick it out. I think the rewards would be good. I think this is different. I don't think many people are doing this, and I think it's going to be helpful down the line. I think it's also going to play into future Maddens, as long as they don't get rid of levels concepts. But I could have thrown the check down. But again, don't ever pass up your first route, the shin route. This is something that has to be drilled into your head. Just take the easy completion, take it, and start over analyzing your second option unless you need to. But here, I was looking at the tight end run down the field, and I noticed that basically the safety ran with them. So it wasn't like he was playing zone. He didn't get whiff. So even though he's kind of like wide open, in my opinion, yes, he could be technically open, but I'm not going to force that ball to him because sometimes safeties will undercut that ball and make a play. All right. And again, we don't want to try to make this play too much. It's already enough of a full master, full concept play that we can rock with it and let it go. Okay. So that's where we are there. But again, I would take this play and put it into the boundary. That's pretty much like the main lesson from today. Now let's go to some of these other plays and let's talk through them. All right. I won't spend so much time on the rest of these plays. Let me just get out of this bad play right here. Okay, so again, I'm keeping it formation based. So if a team started like really coming out and playing a lot of man to man, 2 man, all that stuff like that, I actually have a play Z close curl where you get the dag concept. And actually, they do, I think, reduce down for me a little bit. So it's a little bit easier. But let me just get a good easy formation here. Nickel, let's say they're going to play one robber. Okay. And this formation, again, this is a different one, Robert. It's a little bit hard to see because they're playing off. Most of the time, it's a press, so it's very easy to see that. But I would just call this play to start if I have a guy who likes playing man, and I feel like that's gonna be their main answer. All right, you have Dag to the left, and you have Captain to the right. The only bad thing is that this Captain play, you can't motion it, and guys are kind of stuck over here. So it's not the best play, but it does give you another man answer. Okay, so if it's cover one, you can throw the curl. It also gives you a nice little blitz answer with throwing it to Clark. But again, we are calling this play because we know that the guy is going to probably be in cover one or cover 2 man. Okay, cover 2 man is probably the ideal adjustment. Okay, so as we build out the play, that's that. But I am not even huge on this anymore. I would call this the start if I get a real obvious guy, but I would still just call levels divide. I'd rather do this and see what they're in. They come out in 2 man. I'm gonna just take my slot receiver and just route them to a 10 yard out. And I have Dag over here. Plus, I still have my backside concepts. I'm not losing, everything. You know what I mean? Right there, my outside guy still won, so give it to him. Don't turn him down. Okay, if he wins, he could get 100 catches for you. Okay. I haven't talked about personnel too much. I think I should quickly just talk about it. All right, so personnel from what I've seen and the way I'm working it, and I might change, so I'll come back and let you know. All right, again, this is free stuff, so it's not 100% fleshed out. But the way I'm doing it is 3 receivers, okay, or 2 receivers. So first option is here 3 receivers. I want my best receiver to be my right receiver. For whatever reason, he has to make a lot of these catches. It could just be because the formations, the way it's worked out. He's going to be the guy that's going to catch a lot of these shin routes, these little 5 yard ends. And I like him to be the most athletic, the guy who can get, break a tackle, the guy like the best all around player. So if this was, I think this is 2006. So at this time, Reggie Wayne, I think, might have been that receiver, if I'm not mistaken, the lineup always on the way they did it was a little bit different. I think their best receiver was usually on the right side. Yeah, it was. It used to be Harrison on the right hand side, and then by this time, I think Wayne kind of took over. But it doesn't matter. Both those guys are studs. If you have 2 studs, the better. Your best receiver on the right side, on the outside. Your second best receiver on the left side can be there as well, or they could be clones. I like the left receiver to be a bigger guy. Okay, so right now in this offense, I would probably switch it and put Wayne over there. But I think he's going to get more of the one-on-ones, a lot of the 3-by-1 formations. He's going to be isolated, and I'm going to throw him more curls in general. I feel like he needs to be a little bigger body, can go up and make a play for me. He's also going to be the post guy when I throw a double post topper. It's going to be pretty much him. Okay, so he needs to be I like 6'2" or taller. 6'3" is better. That type of guy. Okay. Now the slot receiver, I would love to just have a specific guy who just comes in and he's just a tough son of a bee. He has good route running and he has good hands to catch the ball in traffic. But you know, the speed factor is something to think about. Speed is not necessary. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't hurt. Like, you don't need a guy zooming through there so fast. I just need a guy that can get into windows for me. He's kind of like the equivalent of what Clark is. Clark is the same thing, the tight end. So if you don't have like a third receiver, and by the way, I do go against the rules, especially if I have abilities. Like right now, I have a receiver who's my best receiver who's outside on the right. But then when I go to three receivers, he moves into the slot. That's not what the Colts did, but he does have slot apprentice. So in 11 personnel, I need him to be not a slot apprentice. He has slotomatic. So he has better route running, better hands in there when he's in the slot. So I put him there. But he also needs to start, so I can't just make him a slot receiver. So he starts in my 12 personnel package on the right side, and then he comes in and plays the slot. All right, so that's the best thing. But if you can have three good receivers, that's really cool. I like it because also you can go against nickel defenses like this, and you kind of most of the time people are going to match up with nickel, and it's easy to read base nickel wide or base nickel over. Even some of the 3-3 stuff, it's pretty easy to read the coverages. Now the other option is to take your tight end like a Clark and put him into the slot, which is something I'm going to start messing around with. The reason why you would want to do that is definitely if you're a no huddle team. Okay. And people are going to have to be forced to find out, they're going to have to be forced to play base defense versus you, which doesn't help you with the reads because going against the base defense is hard to see the coverages. You're going to have to run more just generic coverage, generic plays, the core plays like this. You're not going to be able to go with coverage beaters necessarily, but you do also allows you to get into different formations. So you can audible to ace formation. You can audible to all the formations where both tight ends have their hand in dirt. That's a great thing. Lastly, I think the real good thing is if a team wants to come out in nickel, right, and they want to sit in nickel versus your 12 personnel, you can still get into, you can now go back into those formations, like I had said, like ace slot, ace pair, wing slot, whatever it might be. And you will not get the adaptive AI on you because basically adaptive AI only works when the defense matches. So if you're in 12 personnel, they need to be in 43 or 34 personnel. If they are in nickel versus your ace formations, and you have to be an ace, you can't stay in spread. If you're come out an ace and they're in nickel, you can repeat now, stretch, whatever, trap 2 or 3 times out of the same formation in the game, and you won't get that penalty of the defense just fitting like it looks like they're blitzing. Okay, so that was a real long-winded way to talk about personnel. Last thing is really the running back. He can be anything you want. I mean, I don't think it really matters. I mean, I've gone with speed because I want to run stretch, and I've gone with crap. Crap, you don't need to be that fast on it. Sometimes it'd be better to be slow. But I don't think it really matters. I think you just get a guy who's just, going to give you about 40 to 50 catches, and he's going to probably run for about 1,300 yards because people are going to pretty much stop trying to stop the run eventually. They're going to have to choose the pass plays. And then the last thing is the quarterback. I really didn't want to have to do this, but I think strong arm is better. Some of these throws you're going to have to sit on maybe for a half a step longer. It's progression off of it's pure progression plays, but a lot of it's based off of reading defenders' leverage and how they react. And sometimes you can't just rip it all the time on time. You might have to hold it, or you might have to throw it into a small window. So I do think arm power is probably more important than necessarily accuracy or yeah, I think you need to get a guy with a strong arm. So when it comes to the fit, the vertical zone fit is probably the best way to do it. Get yourself a strong arm quarterback. I do think West Coast spread does describe the position players that you need. I'll talk about the O line in another video, but in general, those are the two schemes that would best fit what this offense is about. If you had to go choose it and build up your team, all right. So thank you for sitting through all that. But personnel will switch up. I will put my tight end in the slot, and I'm also going to consider putting him at the number one wide receiver. So I'll talk about that in another video. All right, so let's just continue on and look at the rest of these favorites. All right, so we already talked about the DAG play, which is there for you, but really the Indiana play is what is huge. I think people are going to start running this, and I think really people are going to start running 3 buzz versus you. I feel like that would be the number one thing that people are going to run. I might have just ran Indiana the wrong way. Hold on one second here. I might have to do this over. I'm looking for 3 buzz. Where is it? All right, I might have missed it. I don't know why I don't see it. Let me just go to the concepts. Cover three. All right, so three buzz, depending on where the safety drops down, makes a difference, right? I don't want to do it at a dime. All right, I'll do it at a quarter because this is something that people would start doing to me too. Is playing 8-man drop. Okay. So this unfortunately requires three audibles, but we do at least get into the boundary. We get this little 5 yard in shin. We get the dig, the dag concept. Then we have to also put the slot receiver on a go. You have that dig, which is a little funky now. Okay, that dig sometimes if it gets touched by a receiver, I mean by a corner, it can end up really short. So to fix that, I do use the sticks adjustments, which gets them a little bit deeper, gets them to about that good 12 to 15 yard area. All right, and then the running back has to flare out to the left. Okay, so that's something you can do if you want to just have it as a check down where he checks for blitzes. You could do this check down and maybe he'll get out there, but a lot of times I think the flare is better. Now we haven't talked about pressure, blitz control, and I'm going to save that probably again for another video. But you're going to have to think, you have to recognize pressures. This is what Peyton Manning was really good at, and you're going to have to potentially hot route or get out of the play, okay, or throw hot. All right. Right now, the hot is technically the 5 yard shin. Okay. If I thought that nickel was coming, I would actually put this shin, and this is actually part of what he does in real life. Hearing from the audio, put him on a shallow. He has to change his angle of his underneath route depending on how close the blitzer is to the quarterback. Okay. All right. So in general, we know this play, but again, I just wanted to show it to you that I have the shin coming from the boundary, which to me helps a little bit more when it comes to the timing of that play. That was a good read by me. It was just poor footwork. So watch this. I can tell that I kind of got to my stop, got to my spot, and just waited. I gotta move a little bit, right? I gotta move to the left, right? Even if I had to back up another step, you can't just sit there when you're going to your second read. A lot of times, if you enter your second read, you ever watch Peyton Manning, his feet chopping around? That's pretty much what happens when you're second read. You have to move around, And again, it's more of a 2A, 2B, right? So if I don't like the play here, for some reason, I didn't like the dig because I know it's a lot of stuff going on. People are going to start running seam. Again, let me go back to the coverage. I apologize. Right now, this actually does take away the play that I want, right? So if I really wanted to, I know there's an extra player here. I would still pretty much try to bang this in there, okay? I know there's an extra player. I would have to give it to him right here so he can catch the ball and fall down, right? This right here, this three seam actually buzz is for the strong side of the formation. That's not how most of it is. I don't know why it's not there, but most of the time, three buzz drops the player down to the weak side of the formation. Okay. And what that does is still allow you to throw that dig route if you can see it to the strong side. All right. So let me just see if I can find one that is representative. I guess this playbook I have here is a little bit funky. All right, let's look at this one here. This dime, the seam is on right here, so this may be a little bit different. I mean, match is on, so this may be a little bit different. But in general, I just want to show you that this is going to be. I think the corner is going to end up staying with this, and this. In general, it's going to look like man to man. But this is the window that you want to that side of the field, away from the safety. Okay, so the reason why somebody would do that is okay. They know the dig is coming. Normally, it would look like this, right? It would be regular dig coming from this side, and then over here we get our verticals, right? So they're going to say, okay, I'm going to drop the safety down to that side and make it a hard read, and he can't be right. Well, now we're going to throw that dig basically coming from the opposite side of the field. That's what Indiana allows you to do, okay? And that clear out of the vertical is really good versus quarters because it really kind of takes away any type of quarters looks. You don't have to have a quarters answer to it, all right? So that's that. Let's go into, okay, wing stack is there, but this is really funky. I'm probably going to take it out. To be honest with you, if it doesn't work the way it should, I'm going to go against base defense because I am in 12 personnel. So if I let this thing run out, first of all, I'm going to put the back out, swing him out to the left. Sorry, messed this play up. Back has to go always away from the 5 yard shin. That little burst release 5 yard shin doesn't always come easy like that. It doesn't come flat. Sometimes the computer will make it basically turn into like a slant. And the reason why, I don't know what the reason why is, to be honest with you, but let me see if I can show you. And that one is fine. It's behaving itself because nobody's actually getting physical with it. Let me keep it going. Let me just see if it randomly pops up for us here. And the reason why, actually, of course, it's working perfectly right now, but that route is scary. Sometimes it doesn't work. So you just be cautious. Let me see here. There's a press guy. Maybe that's what it is. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. Yeah, you see how it turns into that slant right there? I think it's versus press coverage. So if you ever do get press coverage, then you might have to just audible him to just a 5 yard in, which is going to make the timing a little bit different. He's gonna open up real quick, so be ready for that. But right here, I don't think we're going to get press coverage. So let me just take a look at it. Yeah, we don't. Right. So that one is an easy dig read. You can see that again. My footwork wasn't great in the pocket. I kind of still did like a statue, but that was a good, easy dig read. Okay. Now on the backside, you have your vertical routes. These guys aren't the best. If you want to motion this guy out to give yourself a little bit more of a true formation, but this is where these guys did run slot formations really by game plan, and it depends on who you're playing. So as we go into like talking about stuff, let's say you're getting a team that is a heavy zone team, and let's say they're a quarters team. That's probably the best way to say it. They're a quarters team. They don't play corners over. They don't play man. So we could just kind of be a little bit more slot formation out of 12 personnel. It kind of defeats a little bit of them playing quarters. They're going to have to really kind of struggle a little bit against this, in my opinion. And then over here, if you know it's a quarters team and you have a good tight end, just put them on a comeback and just rock out, okay? But that's one of the options you have there. I just want to kind of walk you through it. The good thing is that formation is tight, that stack is tight. So you don't have to really worry about the spacing of that. And you can run down to the boundary if you want to, no big deal. All right, some other plays here we have. Okay, so this is another Indiana concept, which I kind of like here. This is going to be again. I would take this play and put it into the boundary. Let's go up against formation. Let's go nickel. All right. So over here to the right would be our dag. We're going to have to make a couple audibles here. To the left, we would get our dagger kind of concept, right? I think they have a name for it. They don't call it dagger. They have a different name for that concept. But anyway, again, it's really the idea of running that 5 yard in to hitting that dig from the opposite side because we're getting people that are cheating. Oops. Well, I was actually trying to motion Stokely out to the right, see if he would get on the line of scrimmage. Let's see. Yeah, he will. Yeah, but it does move this guy out wide. See, I don't like that. That's already too wide for me. Okay, so let me just redo this play. I like the way it is naturally. We're going to work it like this. You got to make a 3 audible adjustment here. I don't know what coverage this is, guys, but I just wanted to really show you the play. And that's what I was talking about there. Like that one is dangerous. Like you don't know. A good linebacker really might come down and play this. So you may not want to maybe that's another thing. Maybe you don't want to throw this in between route when you're on the line of scrimmage because you are working up to 6 yards. If I was at 5 yards, I would feel real comfortable because I can even come back down to 4 to make the catch. But this is a little bit scary, right? That dig was there, obviously, for me on the other side. Looks like they were playing some sort of quarters coverage, so we're in good shape. All right. All right. So you guys see that formation? That's not a pistol doubles. I added in pistol because there isn't that much under center that I have. So to me, it's kind of like another version of under center. Then we have, okay, so now I haven't talked about 3x1 version of this play yet. So I'll come back to that. Let's save the 3x1 cranes for the next part here. Here's sail. So I already clicked this wrong, but let me just show you this sail concept. I'm going to use it and transform it into our dig concept, right? I just need 2 audibles to get the running back and the tight end right. But you can see here, coach, this is really wide. Like this dig on the outside, let's just run it. Again, this is versus cover 1. It's just really too wide for me. It's just, again, watch the old Colts films, okay?
Broncos very seldom break down. That's why they've been so good this year.
We'll call it 2nd and 5, and that's Harrison for the first down at the 32. Completion for 7 yards.
This play, they do it 2 ways now, to Marvin Harrison, and now they run it to the other side to Reggie Wayne. Even though Peyton Manning drops back, it's their version of throwing the football quick.
And again, I just motioned Stokely out to the left to get Harrison to go off the ball and be tighter, and now we're good, okay? What do you guys see here? Obvious what? Kind of like a 2-man or 1-man look, right? So I'm just going to go with Stokely, put him on this out, go with the dag play. We do get cover 1. I'm going to take the shot here. You can always go for the streak balls. That's the one thing I do love about the offense, because if you're working the main concepts, you have streaks in your offense too, which you can take shots depending on how good your quarterback is. Okay. All right. So if you're going to run this play like this, just make sure you motion Stokely out to get him to work in. If you want to run it into the boundary, which I recommend, then you don't have to really make any adjustments. Okay. So you're straight and you can just rock out. And this is an easy concept. And you just work with it. Okay. There goes the blitz. So if I knew any type of tendency that my opponent likes to blitz, I still went with the hot route to the shin, but you can also audible this to a shallow. If you feel like this guy, let's say this player who blitzed, you know he's blitzing because he's in a press position and it just looks weird. And you can tell from the coverage that it's not press man cover one or press man. They're not playing press to play coverage. He's playing press because he wants to blitz. Sometimes you would see a linebacker walked up in the gap, right? Something weird would set it off. Put this guy on a shallow, okay? So that if this guy was really close, you want to make sure that this player is open sooner. All right. That 5 yard in sometimes takes a little bit of time. And if that nickel would have came clean, you would have been in trouble. All right. But that's your first hot read there. Another hot read that you can do. This is not a good example. Actually, let me give you a good example. Let me give you a good example here. Again, maybe it's better versus a different play here. Let me see real quick. Yeah, let's leave that alone. I'll do that when we get into some other base core concepts. Okay. All right, so we got that 2x2. This play action digs, I'm kind of not going to run as much as anymore. Look at the timing of this thing. Have it in here because in theory it looks good. I feel like it should be good, but the problem is Stokely's route is way too deep. I mean, that dig takes forever, and I understand that maybe it's good versus play action because you want to give it time to develop. Maybe, whatever. It's there for you. So you have the same look. It's just off of play action, okay? And you don't have to make any audibles to that. So that's pretty cool. The running back goes to the flat pretty well off the play action for you. Go to so that formation, just so you can see them there. Gun doubles offset weak, gun doubles offset. All right. This one here is the one in the middle. Gun flanker close is one of the newer ones that I have. Let me just take a look at it. If I do it to the field real quick, I feel like this is not bad. To the field. Yeah, it's a little bit too wide still, but I can still use my emotion adjustment here. The only bad thing here, fellas, is that the running back is flaring out to the same side as the shin. So you got to flare him out behind the quarterback, which looks kind of silly, I know. But we're going to kind of just rock with that. And just hopefully nobody calls me cheese. You can see here the shin is actually really short naturally. It's not a regular 5 yard in. It's a little bit more of like a 2 yard in, okay? Let me flip the play here and go the opposite way. You can do this as well. All right. The one thing I will say, that dig timing is a little bit weird. I'm not 100% sure how it should work out. That was a bad. They actually covered the hell out of that play. The one thing is, once you get into more of these compression formations, naturally, sometimes the defense can cover everything, right? So did I have the first read? No. Again, I could just see as soon as I probably would have made a throw, if this guy's ready running down, I don't know. Is the dig going to open up for me? It didn't even get to the dig. So the dig was taking so long that it never even actually got to his depth. It got bumped a little bit. So this play might have to be reevaluated, to be honest with you, to see how it looks. Because I've actually run this play in a game too, and that dig is just a little bit funky. Okay, it's not too bad there. Now, from a protection standpoint, I just want to say this, man. The game is really good on the interior pressure, so I'm going to really try to refocus all my efforts going forward to have my interior three linemen, guard and center, to be some of my best pass blockers. In one of my leagues, I already made a change and moved my right guard, who's 330 pounds anyway, my right tackle, I'm sorry. What was his name? Wills? I'm sorry. I forgot his first name. Garrett Wills, I think. He used to be on Cleveland. I moved him into guard. I needed to move him into guard anyway. He wasn't a great tackle, but he has pass block, so I kind of like that. So I need guys that can hold up in the interior because that's where the pass rush comes this year. And I'm gonna have to hold the ball a little bit longer than usual. So we got to kind of make my team work towards that. All right, we have a couple more to go through. 2x2. We have another one here. You guys are probably getting bored of this by now, so we're gonna wrap this up soon. Here we go, another Indiana. This one, naturally, this formation gives you this. I think this is normal weak. It gives you a nice little alignment with the outside guy. So we don't always have to have a tell that the outside boundary guy the boundary corner, the boundary receiver is always the in route. Now we have it to the field. I put the running back into a block and then I motioned them. I think I could have done it also. I could have put him into a swing to the right and then motion him. So this one you can motion, which is nice. All right. So I already have this kind of built out. So this is Indiana, right? Again, if you didn't want Indiana, like right now, I already see that this is going to be all out blitz. So Indiana I can still run, which is fine. But also I might say, hey, I just want to run streaks here. Let's say somebody presses you. Now we're just going to run dag, right? Now I know the blitz is probably coming from those linebackers and they're going to get there quick. I don't want Harrison to mess around. So I'm going to put him on a drag. Even though it looks funky, it's going to get him in there right now. It almost turns into a slant. So I just want to show you that, like, that pressure is coming. You got to get rid of that ball to the hot quickly, okay? All right, so that's that. With that formation, I think there was one more Indiana type of concept that I had, or two more. All right, this one here is just regular levels. Again, anytime we have a stack formation, which I just recently added to the book, so I'm going to have to re-upload this for you guys. The stack formation, like this, anytime that guy gets pressed on the outside, it's a little bit funky. So this time he came up, oh, see, he just messed me up. And that would piss me off, I swear to God. If he actually faked me out, and I'm throwing the ball to him because he was open on the original route, but watch this. I mean, I felt like he was fine. Maybe he wasn't. But again, that's not good. I don't know if it's because he's running into the other guy. So if I'm not sure, like, let me just see it here on air. This should be fine on air, right? Took forever to get open. He didn't run the right route. So again, if I'm not 100% sure, guys, I'm just going to put him on a 5-yard in. It's going to get there very quickly, but I don't care. I'd rather at least be, I know where the ball's going. I know what's happening. Maybe that's more like a drive concept now, but still, I gotta live with this, man. Maybe if you guys have a better answer, let me know. I'm trying to get the play out of more formations, as you see here. So that's a good formation. And then the last one I have here out of 2x2 is a motion formation, which they do use on third down. Again, I have to go back and show you guys some film. Maybe I'll just slice it in here right now.
Zone D against the best red zone offense. Third down and 4. Underneath they go. Catch made, but a yard shy is a dime. Fourth and about a yard.
Really close. If I was the Colts.
All right, so you see how they do run some of this motion stuff. We're going to have to take the running back and flare him out to the right. I know the right-hand side is really bastardized. You can keep this route concept on if you like, but let's just be realistic here, okay? Let's just put it on the good old standard. All right, we're not trying to cheese our opponents here, but we're trying to also help out with guys that want to play press man, right? And we want to get that nice little read, still with the same idea. We're just going to do it from that look, maybe more of a third down look, okay? By the way, I do have film of these guys running stuff like this and then also running like a shallow concept with it. You know what I mean? So let's just do this real quick. So like a kind of like a mesh concept. They do this as well versus teams that are heavy man teams. They run a mesh concept, and that you know, you don't run mesh all game and then you throw that at somebody. They're not going to expect that. It's probably going to be there for you. Okay.
6. Good protection, lobs it. It's Rhodes with the catch over the shoulder at the 40 and advances it to midfield and actually inches into Denver territory for a gain of 26.
The Colts have the inside receivers crossing. Everybody's looking in the middle. Nobody stays outside. That's why the wide receiver, Dominique Rhodes, is wide open. What a job by Peyton Manning looking in there for the main receivers.
So check this out. 3x1 is very interesting because even though we're on the left hash here and I'm talking about having a lot of space to throw the ball, this route right here is actually pretty good timing. Like if this was just dig, which this you can do this. If it was just this is actually pretty good timing. Okay. I feel like that's pretty good. If you want to, if you want to keep it the way it is, you're fine by just keeping it the way it is as well. Now, the timing on this is the one that I think I told you I'm a little bit nervous about. This underneath route right here, it has to almost get through a lot of traffic to get open, okay? And right now, they gave me an 8-man drop. And if you get quarters coverage, it could be easily beaten. All right. And then also, you also could have a poaching safety coming on the backside. So I'm not sure why the computer's giving me a whole bunch of nickel dollar. Let me get into just regular. They're giving me like dime or something like that. I mean, a quarter. Let me just get into just a regular nickel set here. So we want to run this play. And let's just get it against. Okay, random 2-4 nickel. All right. So Stokely, if you not want to say if you blindly, if you throw that most of the time, it's going to be open. If you ever get a player, especially a middle linebacker who cheats it, or a nickel that cheats it, look to throw the outside guy at the same time. See, that would have been a good example there. The safety came down. Again, it's not more like 1-2. It's more like 1A, 1B. Okay, it's more like find the guy that you feel most comfortable. And that is a wider throw, like I had talked about. So let's go back to my theory of boundary football. It's okay. Just call the play from the boundary. You're going to get a little bit better timing with your underneath players. See, right there, I wasn't sure about the dreaded 3-receiver hook player coming down quickly. So I just went with the outside guy, feeling pretty good about it. Okay. If you don't like any of those, then you should definitely have your tight end. All right. If you think it's some sort of man-to-man coverage, which is pretty easy to tell at a 3-by-1, right now this looks like some sort of cover 9. I think this is cover 9, to be honest with you. But if it was man-to-man, you wasn't sure, then you should probably go with, it was cover 2 actually. You should just go with the dag. You just put the tight end on the out. Okay. Or you could actually go with the slot on out. Okay. So you could dag this guy. All right. So you can kind of work that out. Remember, I promised you this is the reason why this offense is good, because you can make hot route adjustments and they're in you don't need special abilities to do it. Okay. All right. The backside guys, if you guys have the standard back here, you get a press look like this. We can turn this into a dag, which isn't the best with the outside safety playing outside leverage to the tight end. But you can always alert back here and say, okay, well, I want to throw some go balls. I feel pretty good about that. Don't forget about that backside receiver, which is the reason why I said that backside receiver is going to be somebody that you want to be able to win one-on-ones for you. Okay. All right. This is going on to be almost an hour video, but I think it was good to just have all this stuff here. Let's just quickly see what other formations we have. We have gun wide trips. We have gun tray open. It's the same thing, level switch. The one play I have here, gun trips tight end, more red zone or third down. A play that I've seen them run. So now we're getting this trips look. Now the thing is kind of messed up here with the angles of everything. Everything's kind of bendy. Okay, so make sure it's 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, or maybe even 2nd and 13 or whatever, 3rd and 12, and just hot route Wayne to his 5-yard end. The timing of this is a little bit quicker, but it's really the same idea. Okay. So we're fine there. So you have a version of that. You also have a nice backside concept that you can work. It's called fusion, which is just a corner route and a flat route by the running back. All right. So then also we're good there. Was there another one that I had here? Okay. So once people start, okay, an empty. So there's no check down or empty, really. You got to be careful of that, but that's a good red zone route. Now, once people start realizing that, okay, well, number 2 is coming under, he's catching a lot of balls. What we're going to do is pretty much run Stairwell. Okay. So this is something that I'm not 100% an expert on. If you guys are interested, talk to Sivon in the Game Plan Discord, or if you are in the MLG, he's one of the members. He has a much better feel for this, but he's talked to me about it. It's really a good answer versus split field, middle field open teams, and also teams that are eventually trying to jump the 5-yard shin route by number 2. This one here, I kind of created on my own. Let me get the backside concept there. This is going to be all out blitz. So let me just get rid of this. All right. So the thing is, people are going to start looking for number 2. And if number 2 is running this dig, it's going to be now coming from number 1. So that can surprise people. All right. They're going to expect it to be coming from 2. Nothing's there. Then they just kind of freeze and all of a sudden 1 shows up. All right. So that's that. But also, if they freeze and they sit too low, and that's the reason why on this play I'm actually going to put them on a 10-yard dig, you can hit pretty much this outside guy, versus a user that is sitting and waiting on your low stuff. So that's a really nice, I mean, again, maybe I'm not explaining it perfectly, guys. He could probably do a better job, but you're pretty much running dig from the outside, and then you have a through route or an alley read route, which is what it's supposed to be on the inside. So if you ever do get a cover 2 team and they don't respect any of this stuff, you do have the guy going deep. If somebody wants to run with the user and run with that guy deep, it's going to open up the middle dig route as well. So I like this in the red zone. I like it on third down. I like it as late in the game as a change up to what you've been doing. Okay. But don't ever forget, just throw the underneath route to the shin if you feel good about it. All right, so that's Stairwell. Let me show you the best way it looks the best out of this formation here. And I'll see if I want to be pissed if I didn't show it to you. It's an empty formation, if I'm not mistaken, right? Where is it? Oh boy, I didn't save it. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, it's out of the empty formations. I thought I put it in my book. I got to go back and put it in. That's on me. I kind of read oh, there it goes. Verticals under. Okay, cool. So you're kind of getting, again, that little bit of a, you have to take a different play, like almost like a drive concept or whatever. But you're getting that under route of the outside guy. You're going to have to audible number 2 to a dig. And then now you got the alley read. So this is where you get now versus post safety look. Sorry, split safety look. That post ball is going to be really nice for you. Okay. So that's pretty good. I'm not in love with how wide number 1 is. Let me just see real quick if I can make any adjustments to that. I can't. Not in this situation, but this is a nice little play here. And if people want to start playing cover 2 or some sort of split safety look, there's a chance you can kind of hit that guy down the middle. I didn't make the audible there. And then you have on the left side, you still have your standard. Okay, so that's the good thing about this. So you can run that. But I also wanted to build it out of some other formations. I have it there. Let's see real quick. All right, I have it out of tray open. Maybe not the best way to do it, but again, this play has been used a lot by West Coast teams as well. They would actually make it a little bit different than this. They wouldn't make it a levels concept, but I won't talk about that. All right, but anyway, right now, again, you have a comeback on the other side. You can keep your back in the block, whatever you want to do. You can just have them flare out as usual. But again, a really nice look versus cover 2 teams. Kind of, we haven't really been running somebody down the middle of the field out of this look. Everything's been digs. So you kind of have that nice little alert right down the middle versus split field open. Okay. All right. So that is that. And then I do have some other versions of it here that you kind of have to create here. I have a whole lot. This is the main concept, right? So this is drive, right? So the reason why it won't be drive anymore is because I'm going to put them on 5-yard in. And if you want to make it the full complement, now you got this, okay? We have drive, we have holster to the left, which is good versus cover 3. But in general, we feel pretty good about this. And teams that play a lot of zone, man, this is going to be hard for them to stop. It's really going to be hard. People are going to have to start manning you up, and you have the answers for that. So out of empty, we have that one. We have it out of box, which is a popular formation. This is going to be more like drive. I know, guys. This is going to be more like drive, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is really a great, great play. But here, we have a lot going on here. But I can definitely just take the tight end and just put him on a vertical, right? And we're kind of getting a bunch version of the same play. Now, the ball's going to come out a lot quicker, right? But we kind of have another version of it. I'm trying to make another version of it. Maybe that's not the best way to do it. But again, I wanted to use the motion just to get somebody off of me. If I don't want the motion, I could just do it like this, right? And keep it moving. And if I wanted to keep it a full crane, I can just work it like this, right? So now I got these 2 guys working crane from that same box formation. 4 wide receivers. You got to put your tight end in if you want them in there, I believe. But that's really more for like third down. They're playing man to man. I want to have an answer, or they're trying to blitz me. I want to have an answer. Okay. I think that is it, unless I'm missing something here. That's pretty much it. So these are the main plays of dig, dag, Indiana, which is really going to run a lot of your offense. I would think you would probably want to run this play about 10 times with the different variations, So, run the main play like 4 to 5 times, make it do it early in the game, and then you start working your variations off of it in the second half at the end of the game to win your games. You go into every game feeling like you're in control. You don't go into a game feeling like you were controlled or you never got to your good place, okay? Have an identity, stick with it, live with it, and then start game planning. So, for example, I'm playing a guy who is a very good mix. He runs a lot of different defenses, almost to a fault, right? And Some guys do this just to confuse you. And they just expect you to either make a bad decision or get nervous, right? So I am not going to be running any of my 2 or 3 man concepts really. I'm going to run these plays. I'm going to run these plays that are working off of people. All right. I don't care if he even knows where the ball's going. I have an answer to it. And we're going to go through our progressions. And then we're going to throw some more screens. We're going to run the ball a little bit more. We're going to be calm. I'm going to make the game calm for myself. Using the 2 and 3 man combinations where you can go, hey, I'm going to run holster to the left. I'm going to run cows to the right. That stuff is pretty good too. However, if you get a guy who's giving you a whole bunch of different disguises, you may make the wrong read. Okay, so I like to save those things for people who are very predictable. So there are guys who just sit in cover 3 in every situation all game long, or they play cover 2 on 3rd down every single time. Well, then now I'm going to go with my, hey, I have a good play that should be cover 2. If it's not cover 2, because for whatever reason they decided to change it, I'm going to go to the other side of the field and, have a good post safety answer. Okay. Or it's going to be a pure progression where there's going to be something coming from across from the other side into my vision window where I could just check it down. Okay. That's where stuff like Miami comes into play. That 3 man concept. What else is there? Detroit, right? Or Dallas, I'm sorry. That's really another concept where there's guys moving from left to right or right to left into your window after you finish making your initial reads. Okay. That's for guys who are very predictable. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm not at a level, maybe some people are, where I can go off at my field and then just read it on the fly and just keep making hard, I call it hard, like stressful decisions, or at least very complicated, the hardest you can do decisions on every play. Can't play football like that. I go back and I watch the Colts play, and a lot of their stuff is sometimes game planned up. You can see that they kind of have some game plan, but there's play action, man. There's just run the ball. There's screens. Like every play can't be a super stressful down, or else after an hour you're just mentally just fried. Okay. All right, man. I just wanted to get this video out to you guys. It's just like an updated dig video, dig, dag, and Indiana video. Just want to see, give you guys some more options. Make sure you know where I'm at. Go re-download the book if you're on the PlayStation. I feel pretty good about this book. It has 35 formations, almost 300 plays, but it's pretty good. And then all the audibles are set. Again, if you're in the play action part, the first audible, if you're in the shotgun part, the first audible is usually always something I like versus cover 3. The second one is something I like versus right now I say cover 3. Sorry. The first one's good versus cover 1 and cover 3. So post safety look. Then I have a good play that I like versus now I'm going to call it cover 2. Okay. Not just split field safety, cover 2. Second one is something that the third one's usually one of the plays we just talked about. It's going to be a lot of the dig and Indiana plays. But I do sometimes have some half field 2-man, 3-man route concepts that are good versus both post safety and split safety. And then I usually end it with an RPO play, not because I want to run an RPO all the time. It just to get me out of a play. That's kind of the way I'm doing it, a little bit more pass heavy. If you wanted to have 2 runs in here, that's fine. But as we move along and I start talking about, we're going to start using some of the under center formation some more, it's going to be a little bit different. All right, so when you look at, for example, dice slot, you're going to see 1 run in there, probably going to start off with a run play 2. So that's 2 runs to choose from and then 3 passes. And the 3 passes are going to be pretty generic, right? We're going to have our post safety pass, our cover 2 pass, and then our pass that's good versus everything, okay? So that's pretty much how we're going to do it. If we jumped into the 3-by-1 formation, we're going to probably pick a run. I have dive in this one just because I feel like dive is really a good cover 0 answer. All right. But I have more than that. I have a bunch of runs in this one. So I have 2 bubbles, right? And then I have a good play I like versus cover 4. All right. But again, we're not going to just stay with this the whole time. Game plan oriented. We're changing up versus maybe a certain team. It's just that they don't give you a lot of plays out of single back trips anymore. It's kind of dead. Single back dice is a little bit better, but that's kind of dead too. So that's why we have pistol in here. So if you see pistol, there's actually 3 runs here and a pass play because we're really just making this more of a run formation thing. So get ready for that stuff. The audibles are set. I'm probably going to rechange them. I'll let you know when that happens. All right. All right, guys, appreciate it. We're at the hour mark here pretty much. And I just want to make sure you guys got a good video if you want to continue with this. If you like this series, this is what I'm going to continue to run for the rest of Madden cycle. But I am going to work on a West Coast video for some guys who want West Coast. And I'm also going to work on a digit video for guys that want to run a digit system. Talk to you later.